Aditya, does the Supreme Court verdict yesterday strengthen the government's case for recapturing Pakistan occupied Kashmir or taking it back?
Well, India always had a strong case, but now that the Modi government abrogated or nullified or abolished Article 370 on 5th August 2019, a massive political step, a policy change happened. Thereafter, after 4 long years, we have had a Supreme Court stamp on that verdict, clearly indicating that the executive and the judiciary and the might of the Indian Parliament is behind this decision. So one, an unthinkable, unprecedented Article 370 nullification happens. It is implemented down on ground. The terror graph overall is reduced, although terrorism and 370 have nothing to do with each other. At the same time, we see a crumbling Pakistan. We see terror attacks happening every other day. We see a clash between the civilian government and the Pakistan army, clearly indicating that India wouldn't have to do much, but Pakistan will crumble itself. Now, I'm not saying, and certainly it would be difficult to imagine a situation where physically we may not be able to retain immediately Pakistan occupied Kashmir, but who knows? If you would have asked me 10 years ago if 370 will go, I would have said no, it's a joke. BJP has been saying that for decades together. If you would ask me that Balochistan will erupt the way it has erupted over the last 2 years, I would have said no. Baloch population is very few people. If you would also had asked me that Khyber Pakhtunkhwa will reignite after Taliban's takeover of the Afghanistan, I would have said no. Taliban and Pakistan go hand in gloves and have been using each other as a puppet. But now TTP has gained momentum. They are using US snipers, they are using US equipment and weapons. So it clearly indicates that India's imagination, India's dream, India's resolution inside Indian Parliament of reoccupying or taking back what is our own Pakistan occupied Kashmir would be a reality someday. How soon? I can't say that.
Right. 4 years is a long time in history. And Iqbal, I want to go back to about 75 years. Undivided Kashmir, this is an area of interest for you. You've written many books around those parts. But explain for us, what the loss of Gilgit, Baltistan and Pakistan occupied Kashmir did for India. I mean, it completely cut us off the...
it cut us off the grid
Silk
that
Road.
connects us.
Yeah, the land connect. Yeah, it cut us off the Silk Road, which we've been trading over for thousands of years.
Well, let me say one thing, that Pakistan occupied Kashmir, Gilgit, Baltistan and the other regions of that area, which are Kohe, Khizar, Ishkoman, Chitral and Hunza, were all an integral part of India when the Maharaja of Kashmir acceded to the Indian Union on the 26th of October 1947. Unfortunately, this region was also within the sights of the British government, which wanted to use this region to spy on the Soviet nuclear program. And they had 1 acoustic monitoring station and 2 seismic monitoring stations in the Gilgit-Baltistan area. And they were also carrying on aerial reconnaissance flights from Chaklala Air Base near Rawalpindi and Risalpur in NWFP. So the control of NWFP and the Gilgit-Baltistan area post-independence became vital for the British. They had to leave India, but they also had to stay on if they wanted to become a nuclear power, which they could only achieve by spying on the erstwhile Soviet Union. So this is the history about it. And if you go into greater detail, I mean, you can read my books, Dark Secrets and Kashmir's Untold Story Declassified, you will discover that there was a deep-rooted conspiracy which began when Lord Mountbatten went to London in the month of May 1947, and he was then instructed by Prime Minister Attlee and the Chief of MI6, Major General Menezes, to actually expedite the transfer of power from 30th of June 1948 to 15th August 1947 so that the British could unimpededly continue to spy on the Soviet nuclear program and also obtain uranium samples from this Xinjiang, which is adjacent to Gilgit-Baltistan area. So the conspiracy was with the British, and they used us to actually put it into effect. So this legacy has been handed over to us. Now in 2023, in theory, it's part of India, but in practice, it's not. And it's not even in the hands of Pakistan today, because the Chinese have de facto control over the Gilgit-Baltistan area.
I was coming to that, Aditya. Yeah, I mean, like what we just heard from Iqbal, the fact that it was always an imperial playground, so to speak. This entire region, it's so vital. It's a strategic crossroads between empires. And today those empires have changed. I mean, it's instead of the Soviet Union, you have the Central Asian states, you have China, nuclear armed China, which holds a part of Jammu and Kashmir. You have nuclear armed Pakistan that holds part of Jammu and Kashmir, and of course India in the center. Does this kind of complicate things a lot more? The fact that Iqbal mentioned you have the Chinese economic corridor, the CPAC going through Gilgit-Baltistan, does that complicate things for us?
It does complicate things. CPAC has been a challenge. India has been speaking about it continuously, not doing enough, apart from merely speaking and issuing foreign ministry statements.
Right.
But that clearly indicates that CPAC does pass through Pakistan Occupied Kashmir, and China has been using PoK, Balochistan, and Pakistan overall as a colony.
Right.
We've had several examples of natural resources being taken away from Gilgit-Baltistan, from PoK, and from Balochistan. So clearly, Chinese have a deep-rooted interest for years together, particularly in the last decade or so. They've increased their investment in CPEC, natural resources, mining, etc., all through this region. But there's another aspect, and that aspect is, what do the local people want? Over the last 2 decades, we've seen the Pakistan army push in a lot of retired generals and retired military personnel and give them accommodation in Pakistan Occupied Kashmir. And this is happening only because they want to invest in the Punjabi population inside Pakistan Occupied Kashmir. A lot of common people have resentment, they're upset. In fact, I'll tell you, in 2018, I did a story on a Urdu newspaper in Pakistan Occupied Kashmir, which had done a survey along with a local activist, and they interviewed round about 35 to 40,000 people all across Pakistan Occupied Jammu and Kashmir to ask them, do you want to stay with Pakistan or do you want an independent Jammu and Kashmir?
Right.
And most of the people actually opted for, it was around 73% people who said we want independence from Pakistan. So that is the growing resentment in the common people. They have not got the rights. They're always treated as second-class citizens to the Punjabis and the Pakistani citizens. So I think India needs to do much more to reach out to that population. You already see a lot of exiled Kashmiris from PoK, be it Mirpuris or people from all across Kotli, Muzaffarabad and other places who are settled in US, UK, who keep on speaking at the United Nations, at the UNHRC, etc., and appealing to the world, help us, hear us out. And you speak about other atrocities in Pakistan, why not about us?
News9 Plus. Download now.